Game Balls and Jock Straps right now. Josh gave us his Game Balls and Jock Straps. Josh's Game Ball went to Jonnu Smith. His Jock Strap went to Alec Ingold. We've talked about those two already. Ingold, I feel like, is a little harsh on Alec Ingold. The Game Ball to Jonnu Smith, totally get it. He was a stud in this game. Scored our only touchdown.
I love that the Snickle Fritz knows are the most electrifying segment in sports entertainment.
The most electrifying, yes, sir. Most electrifying segment in sports entertainment. So, Anthony, I'm going to say to you, give me your game ball.
My game ball is going to a tandem of Jalen Ramsey and Kader Kohou. And let's throw Kendall Full in there, too. We're going to trio. This was the best complete game that these three have had. And maybe it's because the opposing quarterback was awful, but it wasn't just pass coverage. Jalen Ramsey was a wrecking ball in that backfield, dude. He was hitting Richardson more than any other person on our defense. He was our pass rusher in this game.
Yeah.
It was absolutely nuts. And I'm not a huge Jalen Ramsey fan. Anybody who's been watching the past 10 episodes or whatever know that I bring him up often as somebody I criticize. And he did let up a big one in this one. But no, he's my game ball this week, so... Jalen Ramsey, you look great. Kader Kohou looked like the Kader Kohou we saw 2 years ago.
Yeah, how about it, man? Absolutely.
Darth Kader. That's what he looked like in this one. And Kendall Fuller, dude. Kendall Fuller, what an addition. Josh called it in the preseason. I got to give him credit where credit is due. He said his favorite addition was Kendall Fuller. Kendall Fuller has been great. This was an absolutely fantastic game by these three corners. I can't remember the last time we had three good corners, period. But listen, we are number one in the league for passing defense, okay? We've let up the fewest passing yards in the NFL. Now, maybe that's because they get great starting position, but it doesn't matter. We still own that as of week 8 in the NFL season.
No, that they were awesome. I love Jalen Ramsey is quietly having another all-pro caliber season. Like, not Pro Bowl, all-pro. He's looking spectacular out there. And you touched on it. Kader Kohou looks like he did in his rookie year. He's playing with fire. He's playing with confidence. And he's quite simply, one of the best slot cornerbacks in the league when he's dialed in my opinion. And then Kendall Fuller, like you said, Josh touched on it in the offseason where he said, Kendall Fuller was his favorite signing. Kendall Fuller was a super underrated signing by us. I was personally partial to the Jordan Brooks signing, but the Kendall Fuller signing was a great signing, and man, he has paid dividends. He's a great number 2 cornerback, a great complement to a great Robin to Jalen Ramsey's Batman, if you will.
And Jordan Brooks was a great signing too, by the way.
Absolutely.
Let's not sweep that under the rug. Jordan Brooks has been fantastic.
Absolutely. But my game ball is going to Zach Sealer. Now, again, you touched on this earlier, Anthony. The fumble recovery he had where he's diving over guys, gets his helmet knocked off, and recovers the fumble. And but beyond that, Zach Sealer was just a man on a mission. Him and Calais Campbell, if we're doing tandems, I would put those two in a tandem here. They've been so great for us in the interior of our defensive line. And we're going to need both those guys to have stellar games against the Arizona Cardinals. So Zach Sealer gets my game ball because the man is just on a mission to prove that last year wasn't a fluke. His contract is not a fluke. Playing next to Christian Wilkins wasn't the reason why he was as good as he was. Yeah. Zach Sealer is a force in the interior of the defensive line.
By the way, I think there's a trio there too, because it's really funny you say that. I had Campbell and Hand as my other game ball. Deshaun Hand.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those three are great. Yeah.
Anthony, give me your jock strap, man.
I've been an avid proponent of our first round pick this year. Mm-hmm. Knowing nothing about him as a non-college football watcher, I just always believe that these guys know more than we do about the people they're drafting. But Chop Robinson continues to be the most raw athlete on the field at all times. He once again just looked a little bit lost out there. Richardson made him look silly more than one occasion. Yep. Tyler Goodson made him look just a high schooler. He does go down with an injury at one point, but he comes back in. Listen, I am super happy that Chop is getting reps because I do think that pass rushers need to get reps more than any other position. They need to learn how offensive linemen are going to play against them. They need to figure out ways to get better at attacking linemen and getting pressure on the quarterback. But man, if I didn't say that Chop looked awful this year, I'd be lying to you.
Yeah.
He's just not putting it together, and it becomes more and more obvious every week. I mean, Tyus Bowser, I didn't look at snap counts, but Tyus Bowser was in there a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if Bowser had more snaps than Chop. And I know you weren't here last week. We talked about, Mo Kamara being active for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Did he get any play? Because I didn't see him really, and I don't know what number he is, so maybe I just missed him. But he didn't make any plays, that's for sure.
He's in the 50s, I believe. Mo Kamara. He might actually be number 50.
So
but
like,
yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to like. There's no long-winded answer here. Like we've been talking about Chop all season, as we should. He's our number one pick.
Yeah.
But it's it's not working out so far. It's to use the Reddit quote that I gave you guys earlier. Somebody on Reddit said that it's the Chris Greer methodology. Draft a project in the first round, coach him up to actually be a great player, and then don't re-sign him at the end of his 4 or 5 year deal. And I mean, this just looks exactly the same, right?
Yeah.
We saw it with Wilkins. We saw it. We're seeing it with Jalen Phillips. Austin Jackson's still on the team somehow, so at least that one is around still.
Yes.
But man, it's like, okay, you're supposed to build them up and then sign them to extensions, not build them up and then give them away. If you're going to draft projects, at least be planning on giving them that extension. I don't mind a project. We had this argument, 2 episodes ago? Like you and Steve like more solid guys in the first round. Josh and I tend to lean more project upside guys, which whatever, okay? Your preference is whatever. The only difference between those two is one of them can start immediately. The other one takes some time to ramp up. The goal being eventually they get up to the same level, right? They even out. But if you're not re-signing the guys, then why are you taking upside guys, right? That's what doesn't make sense to me. If you're not willing to go through the process of making them better players so that you can re-sign them, then go get the guys who are already, go get the 5-year starters or the guys with like 1,000 snaps in college. Like, go get those guys. Like, it doesn't make sense to draft the upside guys if you're not willing to stick with them for their like career,
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Now I don't want to get sidetracked, but my argument against the project guys was not that I don't want project guys. I just don't want a project guy when you haven't had a first round pick in 2 years.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I know.
That was my main argument. Like the year when we had 3 first round picks, we drafted Tua, we drafted Austin Jackson, who was a project at the time, and we drafted Noah Igbenogany.
Who's doing well in Washington, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It's actually infuriating.
His third team, though. It's not. We weren't the only team.
Yeah, but like out of those, and honestly, Tua was a project at the time too because he's rehabbing from his hip injury that he suffered at Alabama.
You should have come away with way more out of that first round. Yeah.
Yes, but you know what? Like 3 first round picks, you want to go 3 projects? Okay, fine. One of those is bound to be a hit, and in reality, we got like 1.5. 1.5 out of 3 on that one. Igbenogany was a miss. Tua was a hit. Austin Jackson has been a solid player. I don't think he's been quite as good as the Dolphins were envisioning he would be when they drafted him. But you know what? He's turned into a solid lineman for the Miami Dolphins.
Yep.
That being said, Chop Robinson, I agree with you. Chop Robinson has been bad. Chop Robinson doesn't look like he belongs on the field. And that's a problem because Jalen Phillips from the IR. Bradley Chubb is still on the IR, still on the physically unable to perform list. No word yet on when he's coming back.
Just
and now
reminder,
we have,
in case everybody's not angry enough as it is that we paid Bradley Chubb and we let Van Ginkel walk. Just a reminder, just a subtle reminder.
Yes, and that's the problem is that Anthony Weaver has no choice but to be aggressive with his blitz packages because we can't generate a pass rush with just rushing 4 guys. That's just not. It's just not going to happen for us.
It's not set up to, right? We're running a 3-4 front now, so we have 3 big bodies and then 1 pass rusher. Like,
right,
it's not a 4-man rush; it's a 1-man rush, and
right.
That's what are you gonna do with that?
Right. So at this point, you get Robinson the reps, and you hope he figures it out. But like, you can't have a guy out there looking as lost as he looked on Sunday. I agree with you, Anthony. He looked terrible. He got punked on pretty much every down by whoever happened to be blocking him. Now, my jockstrap. Now, first and foremost, Julian Hill just gets my perpetual jockstrap. Like, every week, just assume that I could give Julian Hill a jockstrap and be totally cool with doing that. But
it's got like the golden jockstrap. It's just
it
never goes bad. It's always there.
Right. It's got one of those little locks, like a chastity belt.
A chastity belt.
Yeah. But my jockstrap goes to Tyler Huntley. Not because I thought he played particularly bad, not because he didn't do what I expected him to do, which is just check the ball down, try and matriculate the ball down the field, hand the ball off. Like, he was solid when he was playing, but you know what? He took a hit. He took a hit in this game that knocked him out for the rest of the game. He got a shoulder injury from it. It was a hit he didn't need to take. And because of that hit, when the Dolphins got the ball at the end of the game with a chance to win it, they didn't turn to Tyler Huntley. They turned to Tim Boyle, of all guys. And we touched on it earlier, Anthony. When Tim Boyle took that ball with under 2 minutes left to go, no timeouts, nobody was thinking, damn, Tim Boyle is going to lead the Dolphins down the field and win this game for him.
To be fair, I was also not thinking that he was going to throw it over the receiver's head on 4th and 2.
So. No, neither did I. I thought he'd at least put the ball in play. But to throw it out of bounds, that's just, I mean, honestly, like, to throw it out of bounds like that, if I'm Chris Greer, I run out on the field, I cut him right there and then. Give me your jersey. Give me your jersey. You don't even get to go to the locker room. Here's your car keys. Go home. You can shower there. You are off this team. Unbelievable. Throw that ball out of bounds on 4th and 2. But Tyler Huntley gets my game ball because Tim Boyle shouldn't have been in this game. Tyler Huntley held on to that. My jock strap. Sorry. Yeah. My jock strap. He gets my jock strap because Tim Boyle shouldn't have been in that game. Tyler Huntley held on to that ball for too long. I understand he was trying to make a play, but man, you need to have this internal clock in your head to know when to throw the ball away. And you didn't, and you got hurt. And I'm not saying he's the reason the Dolphins lost, but you know what? Him not being in there basically made it so the Dolphins had no shot at winning.
He didn't even look good when he was in there, let's be honest. Every time he threw the ball, I was like, gosh, why is a high schooler playing for the Miami Dolphins?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he hasn't looked good. He hasn't looked good, but, like, he's at least...
He's better than the other two. I know. It's such a sad reality we live in.
Yeah. They don't set a high bar.